It's Meet the Teacher night, everyone. I'm Coach Tina. So excited to be bringing you some new programming tonight. And I'm going to put us a little timer on. I figured out how to do this yesterday. I'm going to go there, put the timer on for just a little bit, see if we can get some more people in. I'm going to check the feeds, and I'll be talking back to you in just a few moments. All right. We are back and I am live. Facebook tried to give me a little scare and tell me that it wanted to log me out, but we have been reconnected and all is well. And I see one beautiful eyeball in our feed. I am so happy you're with us. If you are familiar with using StreamYard, you can put comments in and I will see them. If you have registered with StreamYard, I'll know your name. If you haven't, I might not know your name unless you add that you are watching and put your name. So I see someone from Florida. We have several people in our community from Florida. So I'm hoping I know who it is, but I hope that you'll put your name in there and let me know as well. Tonight, I thought it would be you, Greer. I'm so glad that you've joined. All right, you guys, it is Meet the Teacher night, and I have been putting information out today, and a lot of you are probably going, what is she doing? Well, as I've mentioned several times, the day after Labor Day, when I was a little girl, hey, Kathy, I'm so glad you're here. When I was a little girl, the day after Labor Day was when we went to school. And that was I just knew how my summers were. I knew it was always going to be, you started school the day after Labor Day. And I put that in my head as this is what you do. This is when school starts. And so I was working on my vacation and thinking about things before I left. And I went, you know what? It's time. I have been holding back for a while, not really sure what to do. And I'm going to tell you guys all about that tonight as we talk about the Meet the Teacher night. But I'm going old school, and I'm going to tell you why now. So those of you that are watching, some of you have put your names in the comments and have let me know. I'm so happy to have you here. We're going to talk about the first time I stepped into a classroom. So some of you know I was a teacher in my former career. It isn't what I started out to do. But one year, 1998 to be exact, I found myself at my first period class, standing in front of all these desks of young eyeballs. I was teaching 9th grade algebra. And I did what I thought all teachers did. I walked out and I gave them a speech. I gave them a speech based on Martin Luther King's I Have a Dream. And it was all about how it wasn't about math. It was about helping them reach their highest potential. And as I looked out in the crowd, I went the entire 50 minutes with my speech. These young eyes were looking at me like, who is she? What is going on? What is math going to be like this year? Now, the reason I did that was because I only had found out 2 weeks before that I was going to be a teacher. I had a friend who was supposed to be teaching in the district. She taught 2nd grade. And she came over to my house crying one day that the district had offered her a new position as a high school math teacher. And she said, I hate math. I hate high schoolers. I don't want to do this. And I said, well, do they let anybody be a math teacher? Because if you don't like it and you don't like math and you're not good at math, I like math and I could be helpful. And so I went and talked to the principal. We were in the middle of the Mojave Desert, so there weren't a lot of choices. And I became an emergency credentialed high school teacher with zero background. So, as you might imagine, I had a big learning curve in those first couple of years of being a teacher. But I also knew very, very quickly that I had the heart to be a teacher. And it was probably what God had in mind for me all along, because I just have always had this insatiable desire to learn. And what good is learning if you're not sharing it and getting it out there to other people? So some of you know me as Coach Tina. A lot of you know me as a community leader because of the Empowering Champions community. And many of you may or may not know that I am now a course developer as well. And what I wanted to do was to share tonight as if this is the start of our journey. And this is going to be a special journey that we're going to go on together. So I'm really excited to announce it. And I see Laura has joined us as well. So Laura, it's good to see you. I've been away on vacation and we haven't caught up lately. Okay, you guys. So what is Back to School Night about? I did want to share my story and give you guys a little bit of a background about what happened after I became a teacher and where I took that in my life. So I taught for 2 years and then I got pregnant. We were in the military and we got stationed in Oklahoma. And I actually came to Oklahoma early, my little bump in my belly. This was baby number 3. And I took the teacher test and passed it. And I was pretty much planning to become a teacher because it was what I was doing. And it made sense as a military spouse to do something you can take with you to other locations. Unfortunately, the salary in California versus the salary in Oklahoma, not so comparable. And when I did the math for putting my 3 children, only one of them was school age. So putting my children into school and then after school daycare was going to make me so little money after paying for the daycare that I decided I could go work at McDonald's and not have to grade papers and make the same amount, which I did not do, by the way. I ended up starting a .com back in the 2000s. That was the thing. And it was a journey in a different direction in my life. But education was always there for me. And as my kids grew up, I got offered an opportunity to teach in exchange for tuition for my kids at a private school when we moved to Alabama. And I took them up on it. And I found myself not only enjoying that role, but there was a new technology I was really, really excited about. It was called Quizdom, and it was little handheld remote control units. And I just was in love with this idea. I said, you know what, you guys, I'm going to go and I am going to take this out into the world. So I met with the people that offered this technology, and they made me the trainer for all the school districts in the state of Alabama. And so I would go around, I would teach in the mornings for my kids, and then I would afternoons or take the day off and get a sub. We had a system that was working really well. And then one day, as I was driving through this little town that we lived in, I saw an office for rent sign. And there's a lot of story that goes behind that. But in the end, I ended up, excuse me, calling and finding that place and finding out how much it was. And it was just this little tiny amount. And I thought, I've always wanted an office building. I love this downtown. Hold on just a sec. I'm going to go ahead and rent this place, even though I have no idea how I'm going to pay for it. My .com wasn't making enough money to support this extra rent income. And I didn't really need it because it was a .com and I was working out of my house, but I was just ready. I wanted my own place. And so I actually told the lady I was going to rent it and called her up and said I couldn't, that it just didn't make sense. But when I went to sleep that night, I thought, you know what? I have to do this. I have to rent this place. This place is so, I just have to do it. And so I called her in the morning and I rented it. And I thought, how am I going to pay for this? And so I racked my brain. I wrote down all the things that I was good at, that people had said that was my skill. And one of them was math, of course. And I thought, boy, if I had a nickel for every time someone told me they hated math, guess what? I decided I'm going to tutor in math. And so I started a math tutoring business, and it was so successful. I was so surprised. I was not expecting that. In fact, I closed down my .com to run my math tutoring business because it was cool. I got to help kids. I got the one-on-one interaction, and I was able to give big math because of the Quizdom, because of the technology. I was able to take it into the city and work with young kids. I had a blast. But it really instilled in me this belief that I could start a school. Later, we would move again back to Oklahoma, and I would start a school. Ironically, it fell into place. I had all the skill sets to start a school, which is a very important thing. When you allow yourself to get more and more skills, you're more marketable. So more people can use your background. So I ended up starting a school for teenagers in recovery from drug and alcohol addiction. I had no background in that area, but it worked out really well for me. And from there, I did that for about 5 years. And then I helped start a school also in Oklahoma. It was the first ever online charter school in our state. And we pushed it. We made it really successful. It grew and grew and grew. In fact, now it's the biggest district in our state. But I only stayed there about 1.5 years. I had some difficulties with the owners of it. And in fact, they were just indicted and sent to jail for their activity. So it took a while for the government to catch up with what was happening. But as a response to I wanted to do school the right way. I started my own charter school in the state. And it was 3 of us that worked the dickens to have this experience where we could bring online education into the schools. Now, this is a lot of my background, and I'm sorry if it's too much, but I wanted to share with you that I have this passion in me, this desire in me to teach, and somehow I have a superpower for starting schools. Well, politically, and the guys that I had left the school on didn't like that we started our own school. And so before long, we were in trouble and we were asked to close our school down. We didn't have we weren't impacting a lot of kids. We were helping a lot of kids, a small number, but we were helping them really well. And we ended up not being able to keep our school afloat. We didn't have enough money to pay the lawyers to fight the battle. It was that kind of a thing. So as a result, I stopped teaching. I ended up getting married, kind of took my life in a different direction. And I basically told God I was done with teaching. I wasn't going to go into school ever again. Thank you very much. It was over. And that's when I started my real estate career. And then had an opportunity to start working. And it was ironically used my master's degree that I had never used in education, because after starting the schools, you didn't really need that kind of a thing. So I ended up getting a job that paid me 3 times as much as being a teacher, and I didn't have to work as much. So life is kind of crazy in its circuitous way, and it allowed me to expand my skill sets even more. So I became a life coach, dug in, decided this is what I want to do. But in the back of my head, I kept thinking, I need to teach an online course. But how in the heck am I going to do that, right? Like, I didn't know the first thing. I didn't even have a I had a Facebook account that I had started like 5-7 years ago and had never used it. So I had no social media skills, wasn't really sure how to go about that. Of course, Dean and Tony started appearing in my feed about the time of COVID. And they were talking about a program called KBB, Knowledge Broker Blueprint. And so it really piqued my interest because they said, hey, if we can get this information out, people can get the information in their head, their knowledge out to the world and make money selling it. Well, I already knew from my online experience before COVID was ever a thing that online education is the wave of the future. But I didn't know the first way to do it. And when Dean and Tony said KBB was, I think it was $3,000, I wasn't into investing in myself at all at that point. Even though I was making good money, I still had a poverty mindset that said I wasn't worthy of spending that much, that I had to work it out all on my own. So instead, I tried it all on my own. I went out and I read and I went to this free thing and I went to that free thing and I tried all the solutions. People said, don't start an online course, start an online community. Don't do this, do that. And I started trying to follow, write a book, start a podcast, do all the things. And I know a little bit about each of those, but I was not hitting it. It wasn't working. However, our online community has continued to grow. Now, some of you may have noticed that I was putting in our feed this week, Healthy Things Grow. Another one of my mentors mentioned that this week, and it falls in line with everything that has been going on for me. And my course, ironically, so I was telling you guys that I developed a course because of Mastermind. I eventually got in with Dean and his crew, created an online course. And when I started, I didn't even know what I was going to write about. But God, in his infinite wisdom, gave me a curriculum. I put it into the course, and it's been sitting out there while I've been out asking everybody, how do I market? How do I get this out there? How do I do this and that? And the reason I'm telling you all this is because it's taken me almost 2 years to figure out that what I need is not out there, that I need to rely on what I have inside of me to be able to put my mark in the world. And everybody's kind of flavor that they've been telling me do this or do that isn't my style. It isn't the way that works for me. So a lot of people said, don't start a new thing without this many people or this much marketing or this much whatever. But what I realized was when I stepped forward to be a teacher in that community, I didn't do it for the money. I didn't do it because I had this, I'm going to make $1 million kind of plan in my mind. I did it because somebody needed help and I had the skill set. And so I am recrafting our community back to my roots, my schooling background. I'm calling it old school, but in a non-traditional way in every sense of the word. And what we are going to do is we're going to be kind of on a semester system, and I'm going to continue my teaching because that's what I love to do. But it has to be from a place of what is it that you guys need? You know, with my math tutoring, as crazy as this may sound, I know math. I don't know all the math, but I know enough math, right? So when people would come to my tutoring center, they would say, I have a problem. And I would say, what have you done to solve the problem? And then I would share with them ways that I knew to solve the problem, but in their language. And what I mean by that is not everybody has the same blockers. Not everybody has the same background or experience or has been communicated the same way. So they aren't hearing the problem the same way. And so I take all those factors into effect. And when I was helping a student one-on-one, I could really see what they were doing and how maybe they couldn't see a solution, but by working with them, they could come up with their own solution. Because in the end, as a tutor, you don't do the work for other people. You have to teach them to get to that place. Ironically, that's just like life coaching. But I can't begin to speak to the masses, if you will, unless I know more about what people are needing and work with them more on a one-on-one basis. So we are going to be going into a school type scenario. I am announcing that I'm doing office hours. They will be once a week. And for those people that can't attend, because I know in our global community, it's really hard to attend all of the things that I do at the times that are available for me, right? I work full time. And so when we can put it online and make it in a static way so that you can get to everything. Facebook drives me crazy the way that you got to dig around, find the thing, hope that they invite people who's seen my videos this week and so on. We're going to overcome that. And here's the thing. I don't know all the pieces. Like I have been trying for a long time to be perfect at this because everybody else makes it look so easy. But instead, I'm just going to start. I want to get a group of people that want to change their life this year, that don't want to wait until January 1st of 2023 and wake up on whatever day of the week that is and say, you know what? I'm going to make my goals list and it's the same as all those other years. Why can't I get my goals done? The thing is we don't need to wait until then. We need to be knocking our goals off the list right now So if that is you, if you are struggling, even if you're on easy street and it's all working for you, we all have goals and we all need to be moving forward on them. I'm going to be more of an accountability partner as we go through this, reminding people who they are and what they're capable of. And, people say you got to get narrow and you got to niche and you got to do it, this real specifics. Yeah, I see the benefit in that. But that has been keeping me from actually helping people because I'm not a mind reader. I can't tell who needs exactly what I have. So there's going to be much more reach out in the group. There's going to be some fun little one-on-ones that I'm going to do with people that anybody can sign up for. Over the next 3 days, Wednesday, Thursday, and Friday, I am going to be putting together a video series. It's going to appear as a challenge. Those that can attend, it's going to be about a half an hour a day. Fantastic. That gives me that extra energy when you guys are online. But it will be outlining all of the things that I am planning to do and how it can benefit you. And my ask for you and the people that attend those 3 days, they'll be mostly from our community, but I'm hoping to get 20 people that want to go on this journey together to see what can happen if we have roughly about 100 days before things kind of hit the fan for the holidays. And so if we get started now, push ourselves, not in a bad way, but in a way that's going to energize us and make us feel really good. I'm not saying you've got to just only devote yourself to your goals and nothing else matters. That's not how to live life. But especially when you have team energy and people in your world, it is so easy for us to help each other get over the finish line. And that's really where I'm hoping to go with this. Thank you for joining from North Dakota. If you will say who you are just in your comments, be happy to greet you. Now, the challenge is starting tomorrow. I'm going to send you each a personal link. And for being here, thank you, Sarah, for coming. For being here tonight, I'm giving you a free ticket into the challenge. That is something that I'm implementing starting this semester, is while there'll be live feeds for limited time in the community, I am going to start charging for the challenges, because we all know when you pay for something, you pay attention. And what's been happening in our community is I'm a giving person. I put my heart out there. I know that to be true, but I want people who are really serious about moving forward, and they have to have some skin in the game. Now, for those of you on the call, I am making you the most outrageous offer. It is so simple, and I want you guys to be a part of it for sure. So don't be worried. It will work for everybody. And there's a really super secret bonus that I can't wait to share. So you guys have got to, I'll share with you each day the replays. So if you can't make it online, you'll be able to watch the replays and you can catch up and see what it is I'm putting forward for us. So I hope that has been great information. I'd love to know what kind of questions you have. And Laura, I know you're visible to me. Would you like to come on and let me know your thoughts?
Okay.
Yay!
Yes. We've been talking for a while, and I feel like I think you're back home, Tina. I think this is it. This is it. I'm excited. I think this will be really good for a lot of people, and I think you've got so much to give, and you're able to diagnose the places that people need breakthrough, and I think it'll be such a good thing.
Yeah. Well, I think it's funny. Tony Robbins always says when people will come up to him and say, "You changed my life." And he always says, if you watch one of his things, he says, "I didn't do anything." And that's so true. I mean, he's just the catalyst that inspires the people to make the change. And so I know a lot of people are like, "Oh, well, if you haven't done this, how can you help somebody?" But the reality is that's what teachers do. We work with kids that we have no idea what they're going to be in the future. They're going to be the engineers, the future presidents, the astronauts, right? And teachers don't have that background, but what we do is we inspire those young minds. And the thing is, we can do that with our older, improved, wise brains as well. So.
Well, that's what I was thinking. You inspire people. I think you're able to really see the gold and out. So I think this is great for you.
Thank you so much. Yes. And I totally believe that this is, when I'm seeing the growth, what I see is that in our community, we have grown to that size that is manageable. We're going to be able to do stuff together. We'll have some synergy and excitement. And it's the thing that's growing right now. And I'm going to take that into the other areas and start sharing some of my courses. And, I just got back from vacation, and some of the vacation things that happen on vacation were just magical. So I'll be sharing some of that during my 3-day event as well. The 3-day event is called Making Progress, How to Make Progress and Produce Your Desired Outcomes. So anybody that's been in Tony's world, he always says, what is your desired outcome? You've got to start with what it is you want, and then back that to where that you are going to achieve it. You've got the energy behind you. And, mindset is 90% of everything. So we're really going to be working on that as well. And let's see. So anybody that is interested, make sure you put comment progress in the feed. And that will allow me to know that you want the information for starting tomorrow. And again, if you can't attend the challenge, no worries. I'll send you the information, and I'll send you the page where all the replays are so that you won't miss any of the information. And please feel free to comment and let me know what makes sense or doesn't make sense to you, because it's really going to be important for me to personalize this at a level that makes this really exciting for everybody. Thanks for being on, Laura. And I'm going to switch really quick and just look at the comments. All right. Look at all of you guys saying progress. You guys are awesome. Yes. And I can't see in StreamYard who is talking. I can see it when I go out and look at the comments in wherever you're catching this from, because we have people watching from within our community, out on YouTube, and also in my Facebook page, the business one. So I'm so happy you guys took time to be with us tonight, and I'm really looking forward to telling you more about what's coming down the pipeline starting tomorrow. Lots of free tools and stuff are going to be going out tomorrow too, so hope you can make it. Take care.